So, good afternoon, students. And today, our topic of discussion, as already during the offline classes, you all asked to recapitulate the chapter during the online session. So, I'm here with you all to present or with our topic, that is a fundamental unit of life, that is a cell, which was going on during the offline classes also. And now, okay, first of all, the fundamental unit of life, that is cell. Now, before going into the discussion of the cell, once again, though today during the offline classes up to the nucleus, we all have covered also, and you said you asked to recapitulate, so I'm moving once again. Now, before going into that, what is cell, what are the different types of cell, what are the different organelles? So let us first have a brief discussion on what is cell. So for this, let me, okay, Saloni, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Saloni, what is cell? How can you, means regarding cell, what brief idea you all have?
So, cell is the structural and functional unit of life.
Okay. Okay, Saloni, you can mute yourself.
Okay, sir.
Okay, well said. That cell is a structure and function unit of life. Now, why we are saying that cell is a structural and functional unit of life? A cell, as we are saying, is a structural and functional unit of life. But why we are using this sentence that while defining cell, we are saying it is a structural and functional unit of life? Anyone who wants to answer can raise his or her hand so that I can unmute you. You can raise your hand. And why we are saying the cell to be the structural and functional unit of life? Yes, Anupam Kumari, you can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself, Anupam.
Yes, sir.
Anupam, why we are saying cell is a structure and function unit of life?
Sir, because our body is made up of cells.
Okay, our body is made up of cells. And as we have discussed during the offline class also, that atom combines to give molecule, molecule combines to give cell. Okay, Anupam, you can mute yourself.
Okay,
Molecule combine to give cell, cell combines to become tissue, tissue combines to become organ, organ combines to become organ system combines to become organism. And that is why, okay, Shripati Kumar raised his hand. Shripati, do you want to answer, Shripati, through the chat box? You send me a response first. Do you want to answer the question? So we can say that organ system combines to give organism, and hence we can, this is the cellular hierarchy, and hence we can say that definitely the cell is a structural and function unit of life. Okay. Now, cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665, and definitely a cell can independently perform all necessary activities to sustain life. Okay. Okay, Shripati, 1 minute. Okay, Shripati, you can unmute yourself. I'm giving you the option.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Shripati, go ahead.
Certain basic functions like nutrition, reproduction, respiration are done by cell. Therefore, cell is certain basic function like nutrition, reproduction, respiration, which are necessary for the development of human beings, are done by the cell. Therefore, the cell is called a structural and functional unit of life.
Okay, okay, very good explained, Shripati, very good, very correct. That is, whatever he has said are the life processes. Life process, students, mean the processes which are essential for the maintenance or the survival of the organism, like nutrition, respiration, reproduction. So cell is definitely doing all this work. And that is why we are saying with the second sentence that is being highlighted over here in the slide, that is, a cell can independently perform all necessary activity to sustain life. Okay. Now, let us move to the next part. Now, students, as already I have also stated that you can see in this image, there are different types of cells: nerve cell, muscle cell, bone cells, reproductive cells, gland cells. So what does what you find in this image? What is a very important thing that you can look in this image, and you can very well say that what does this image indicates? Anyone, the student who want to answer, raise his hand or her hand so that I can. Okay, again Shripati. Okay, Shripati, let me unmute you. Okay, Shripati, you can unmute yourself. Yes, Shripati, you can unmute yourself.
Cell has different shape and size.
Okay, very well said. Cell has different shape and size. Okay, Jyoti also wants to answer. Jyoti, you can unmute yourself.
So same answer.
Same answer. Okay, very good. Because this is a very common one. That is, a cell has a different shape and sizes. It indicates, this diagram typically indicate the same. That is, a cell have the different shape and the size. Now, student, before going into just a moment. Yes. Now, students, before going into the different type of the cells, let me ask you about two very important terms, that is a unicellular and the multicellular organism. So those organisms which are having or whose body is composed of the single cell, they are the unicellular, and those were composed of many cells, that are being called the multicellular. Can any of the student give me one example of the unicellular organism? Because in the junior classes also you all have studied. Okay. Okay, then 3 students raise their hand. Okay, many students. Okay, first Jyoti. And let me just just a moment. Let me first. Okay, Jyoti, you can unmute yourself, Jyoti.
Yes, sir.
You can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Speak up.
Sir, Euglena.
Okay.
Euglena.
Okay. Next, okay. Amoeba. Okay. Yes, Safia, you can also unmute yourself, Safia.
Yes, sir.
Safia, what do you want to give it in the example?
Paramecium.
Okay. Chandani, you can also unmute yourself. I'm
Yes,
hearing, I'm first of all listening to all the examples. Okay. Khushi.
Sir, Euglena.
Okay. Okay. Just a moment. Okay, fine. Just a moment. Okay, students, as okay, fine. Now, whenever we are talking about, just a moment. Okay, Safia, you can lower your hand. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, let me do this. Okay, fine. Now, now students, as you all have said, the unicellular organism composed of the single cell and multicellular organism composed of the many cells. Now we will be coming to the types of cell which are definitely very much essential, the two type of organism, that is prokaryotes, the eukaryotes, or we can say the prokaryotic cell or the eukaryotic cell. From the name itself, student, if you are saying, or if you are going to the meaning that what the name is, let me use the pen. Prokaryote. It is made up of two words, pro and carry-on. Okay, carry on. Here it is carry on. Pro means primitive and carry on means nucleus. So those organisms which are having the primitive nucleus. By primitive nucleus, we mean that the nucleus is not well organized. And again, by saying that nucleus is not well organized, what does this mean? Nucleus is not well organized. It means that the nucleus is not bounded by the nuclear membrane and the genetic material is in continuous with the cytoplasm of the cell. Here in the image, you can see this part is the genetic material. Okay. Now this genetic material, generally, if we are saying this a cell, suppose this round structure, I'm making a cell, and then I'm going, this inner blue color is the nucleus. Then the green color is the genetic material. Suppose this green color is a genetic material, but in case of the prokaryote, this genetic material, or we can say the genetic material, is not surrounded by the nuclear membrane. That means the nucleus is not surrounded by the nuclear membrane. They are free. They are freely present in the cytoplasm, and hence this nucleus is called, the nucleus is called the nucleoid. As you can see in this image, let me highlight it. This is called the nucleoid. Cell wall, definitely, which surrounds the plasma membrane, and this is the capsule found in some prokaryotes. So this, the prokaryotes are the organisms which are having the primitive nucleus. Well organized nucleus is absent, and that type of nucleus which is not bounded by the nuclear membrane is called the nucleoid. Okay, is it clear to all the students? Through the chat box you can give me the reply. Through the chat box you can send me the reply. Okay, okay, yes, I got the feedback. Okay. Now, after this, students, parallelly you see the eukaryotes. Okay, the eukaryotes. So you can see in this image, eukaryote, again made up of two words, eu and carry-on. Eu means modern and carry-on means your nucleus. Okay. Now, again here, why it is called a modern nucleus or a well-organized nucleus? Because nucleus is surrounded by the nuclear membrane, and all the membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria, the Golgi body, the endoplasmic reticulum, okay, these all are present in the eukaryotic cell. Okay. So this was the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes in image representation. Now, students, whenever we are talking about the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes, now similarly, we will be coming across the plant and the animal cell. First of all, let us discuss the structure, and then we will discuss about the differences. Student, once again, if we are talking about the plant cell, in plant cell, the outermost covering is the cell wall. The outermost covering, let me highlight it. The outermost covering is your cell wall. Okay, this one. Now, below the cell wall is the cell membrane. So definitely we can say what is the function of the cell wall. The cell wall protects the inner layer. The cell wall protects the inner part. The cell membrane function, that also we will be doing separately. The cell membrane is definitely the membrane or the layer which surrounds or wraps the cellular organelles or the cellular compartments. Now, this cell membrane is selectively permeable because it allows only certain selected material only to pass through it. It does not allow all the material to pass through it. And then you have the cell organelles. Now, one very important difference is that presence of the plastid. The plastids, that is they are of three types: leuco, chromo, and chloroplast, which is responsible for the green color and the color of the vegetables. Definitely, if we will see or diagrammatically compare the plant and the animal cell, we won't find the cell wall in case of the animal cell and also the plastid in case of the animal cell. So once again, we are going to the previous slide to differentiate between the two with some basic point of differences. If we are comparing the plant and the animal cells, there must be some similarity also and differences too. So both the plant and the animal cells have the nucleus, they have cytoplasm, plasma membrane, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and ribosome. These are the name of the cellular organelles, the detail of which individually we have to study as we will proceed further in this chapter. Now, there you can see the two columns are there, and this column indicates the differences. If we are talking about the plant and the animal cell in terms of their shape, the animal cell do not have a fixed shape, but the plant cell do have. Then the animal cell do not have the cell wall, but the plant cell definitely have. The animal cells do not have vacuoles, and if vacuoles are present, here you can't say, student, that a vacuole is completely absent. The vacuoles, if present, they are small, and here the vacuoles are large. Then the animal cell, they do not have the chloroplast, but the plant cell have the chloroplast. Then these are the stored food, the glycogen in case of the animal, the stored food is the starch in case of the plant. And the centrioles, the animal cell have the centrioles and the plant cell do not have the centriole. Definitely these are the part which will help in the cell reproduction, the cell division. Okay. Now differences is clear to all the students. Differences is clear to all the students. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, yes, I got the feedback. Okay. Okay, Khushi. Khushi Kumari, just a moment. Yes, Khushi, you can send your query in the chat box also. Now, student, we will be coming to the discussion of the various cell organelles and their function. First of all, the major one, which is the outermost covering, that is the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. So this is the outermost covering of the cell that separates the content of the cell from its external environment. Okay. Now, one very important thing, students, this structure which is being highlighted over here, this is a structure which was proposed by the scientists Singer and Nicholson, and this is called the fluid mosaic model of the plasma membrane. Now, the fluid mosaic model of the plasma membrane, why it is called so? Just a minute, let me see the chat box. Okay. Now, okay, I'm coming to this portion also. The cell membrane has, or we can say, this structure was proposed by the plasma. This structure was proposed, the structure of the plasma membrane was proposed by Singer and Nicholson. And this very popular model is called fluid mosaic model. Remember, student, if we are talking about the structure of the plasma membrane, there are a number of models which have been proposed. But the fluid mosaic model definitely is the most accepted one, which describes plasma membrane as a lipid bilayer. Now here I'm using a word lipid bilayer. Can anyone tell me what do we mean by the lipid bilayer? Anyone? Because lipid, you all know. Then what is the lipid bilayer? Anyone? Okay, Jyoti raised her hand. Okay. Okay, Jyoti, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Jyoti.
The two layer of cell membrane, two pair of cell.
Two layer. Okay, lipid bilayer, that means the cell membrane is made up of two layers of the lipid. Okay, Jyoti. Okay, fine. Okay, so definitely correct, made up of two layers. Here in this image, you can see, let me show you with the help of the, here in this image, this yellow color structure individually, this upper one and the bottom one, this is your lipid. This is the lipid. Okay, this is the lipid. These two are the lipid. So it is the lipid bilayer. Okay, now if you are saying about the individual structure of the lipid, it looks like this. It has a head and the tail. This is the head portion. This I'm labeling is at H. This is head and these are the tail. Okay, this is the head and this is the tail. So two lipid layer is there, and in between the lipid layer, proteins are inserted. Either the protein passed through the lipid layer or it is present externally or within the lipid layer. Okay. If you are talking about the function of the plasma membrane, definitely it is a selectively permeable membrane and it allows the flow of the limited substance in and out of the cell. Student, previously we were saying plasma membrane as a semi-permeable membrane also, but though this concept become very correct when it proved that, when the scientists were able to prove that the plasma membrane selectively permeable membrane, because it allows the selected material to pass through it. Okay. Now, after this comes a very important term, that is diffusion. Okay. Now, student, before going into the topic of diffusion, in the matter also we have studied about diffusion. Can anyone say what is diffusion? Can any of the student, can you say what is diffusion? What is diffusion? Anyone? Again, the same student, Jyoti is always raising her hand. Okay, now Saloni also. Okay, now, okay, Saloni, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Diffusion is defined as an intermixing of particles of two different types of matter on their own.
Okay, okay, Saloni, correct. Okay, Khushi, you can also answer. Okay, some noise problem is there from Khushi's side. Okay, Anupam, you can unmute yourself. Anupam, you can unmute yourself. Yes, Anupam. Anupam, okay, no problem. Okay, Anupam, you can send your answer in the chat box. I think from your side, there is some connectivity issue as I'm not getting your voice clearly. Okay, Safia, you answer. Safia, you answer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Safia, what is diffusion?
Diffusion is the process in which movement of substance from higher concentration to lower concentration.
Lower concentration. Okay, Safia, you can mute yourself. And now, Shripati, Shripati, I would like to unmute you for one question. Just a moment. Yes, Shripati, Unmute yourself. Shripati, unmute yourself. Okay, done. Shripati, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What?
Yes, Shripati, listen to my question. As just now, one of the students say from the higher toward the lower concentration, does diffusion occur in all the mediums, or it is restricted to a particular state of matter?
Sir, it does not occur in all the mediums.
It occurs in all the medium or does not occur?
Sir, it occurs.
Okay, very good. Well said. Diffusion is possible in all the states of the matter, whether it is a solid, liquid, or the gas, but definitely the osmosis. Okay, Shripati, you can mute yourself. Osmosis is possible only in the liquid medium. So diffusion is a process by which the substances move from the region of the higher concentration toward the region of the lower concentration. And on the other hand, osmosis, it is only the movement of the water molecule through the semi-permeable, or we can say the selectively permeable membrane, from the region of the higher concentration toward the region of the lower concentration. Okay. Now comes the most important topic, and during the offline class also, as I told you all, that from plasma membrane, three type of solutions. Whenever we are studying plasma membrane or the cell membrane, the three type of the solution become extremely important for us. That is a hypertonic solution, a hypotonic solution, and an isotonic solution. Now let us discuss in detail one by one. First of all, let me come to the hypotonic solution. Now, students, see, what is a hypotonic solution? Here, students, you can see this is the blue color part is the external medium, and the red one is the cell. The cell inflate and eventually burst. Water is transported into the cell. Why this is there? Now, let me highlight it. Now, if the medium surrounding the cell has more H2O concentration, that is a water concentration, if the medium surrounding the cell has more water concentration, then what will happen? The water from the region of the higher concentration will move toward the region of the lower concentration. That means the cell, the water concentration in the cell is less. So it moves from the region of the higher concentration toward the region of the lower concentration. That is from the external medium into the cell. Now, when it moves from the external medium into the cell will swell up. Okay, so this type of solution, when the external medium has a higher water concentration than the water will be moving inside of the cell, and this type of solution is called hypotonic solution. Is it clear to all? So student, if I ask you a question, what happened when a cell is kept in a hypotonic solution? What will be your answer? If I ask you what happened to a cell when kept in a hypotonic solution, so what will be your answer? If I say, student, that the cell is kept in a hypotonic solution, what will be your answer? Correct. Cell will swell. Very good. Well said. Correct. All the students have given the correct answer. Cell will swell up due to endoosmosis. Very good. Now, if we look to the definition of the hypertonic solution, so a hypertonic solution in any that has a lower osmotic pressure than the other, and this is different due to the differences between the water concentration of the both compartment. Okay, now next we are coming to the hypertonic solution. You see in this image, student, anyone, as we have already discussed the hypotonic, can any student explain to us what is being observed in this image? What you can observe in this image clearly? what you can observe in this image? Just raise your hand so that I can unmute you. Raise your hand so that I can unmute you. Anyone? Okay. Okay, Shripati. Okay, Shripati, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir, the cell is shrink due to exosmosis because it is kept in a hypertonic solution.
So what happened in a hypertonic solution? The cell surrounding the medium has a higher water concentration or
This-
lower?
Yes, has a lower concentration as compared to the cell.
Very good. And that is why the water will move from the cell into the medium. Okay, good. Well explained. Shripati, very good. Yes, correct, students. So this is the example of a hypertonic solution where the cell surrounding the medium, the cell is surrounded by a medium which contain the lower water concentration, due to which the water move from the cell into the medium and it shrinks. Well, very good explained. Now, at last, one more solution is left, that is a isotonic. Now, okay, that time Jyoti raised her hand. Jyoti, what you can see in the isotonic? Let me give you the option to unmute you. Yes, Jyoti, unmute yourself. What you can see in this image, Jyoti?
So in this figure, the cell membrane has same water concentration as the cell have. The cell will be
Okay,
same
very
size.
good. Very good. Yes, correct. Definitely
No
here.
crop.
Yes, Jyoti, you can mute yourself. Well said. That is the medium surrounding the cell has the same water concentration in comparison to the cell, and as a result, there is no net flow of the water from the inside to the outside. Okay. Now, summing up the three type of solution, and as I told you in class also, sometimes the differentiating question between the three solutions come: hypertonic versus isotonic and hypotonic. In hypertonic, higher solute outside, that means the concentration is less, or we can say higher water inside and higher solute outside, and that is why the water moves out. Isotonic, no net movement, as because it is the same, the concentration is same. And hypotonic, water moves in. Why? Because higher water outside. Okay, is it clear to all the students? So this part, though also we have done in the class also. Okay, so this was all about basically regarding the today's class. That is, we have done the introduction or the definition of the cell, then the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes, then plant and the animal cell, and then we have stated about the plasma membrane structure, the function, and the three type of solution, that is a hypertonic, isotonic, and hypotonic. Now, definitely, student, as an assignment today, you will prepare the differences between the hypertonic, isotonic, and hypertonic solution, and you will also practice the diagram of the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cell, definitely. Okay. Now,